안녕하세요.
감사합니다. Thank you very much. It's my great pleasure to share with you our experiences. I thought inside Korea, Korea is the worst country, but outside I realized that not that much worst. So we have many things, many different things and difficult challenges we are facing now. But I have many slides, but I will not go all over the details, and I will leave the slide here, and then you might ask the organizers. Instead, I will highlight some of Korean approaches, how we do our strategies and things. This just shows that Korea is one of the highest spenders in R&D as of GDP. But the right-hand side, you see in terms of productivity, especially hourly productivity, is quite low among OECD member countries. So we call that is a productivity puzzle. It's very challenging to narrow that productive gap against the frontier countries. The thing is that I will go in details a little bit further, and then Korean economic development was led by manufacturing sectors. And so that was evident in labor productivity compared with the services. So manufacturing sector shows very high level in labor productivity, vis-a-vis services quite low. So that means that we need to enhance the service productivity. And another problem is that, I've seen that, and is that there are big gap between large enterprises and smaller companies, and that we'll call LE and SME in my slide, and both in manufacturing and services sector. And also the gap between large enterprises and smaller companies in labor productivity is widening rather than narrowing. And this is the summary of Korean model over the last 6 decades. But one thing I want to emphasize is that government made those planning, but also the implementation was done by the big business. So it's collaboration or between government and big business. So that caused a widening gap between large enterprises and smaller companies. The rest I will not elaborate further. So we are facing how to change this model into the next sustainable one. Especially, I mentioned the large versus a smaller company problem, but also just briefly mentioned by Michal, regional imbalances are also widening. There's another big challenge. And also the problem is that among those manufacturing sector, small number of leading high-tech sectors like electronic equipment and machinery and automobiles, those are leading sectors. And the remaining low-tech manufacturing are lagging behind. So even within the manufacturing sector, the gap is widening also. So now I want to highlight some of the approaches we are taking. Because the exporting activities take very large share in terms of compared with any other countries, and also manufacturing still play key roles in creating jobs and value added, we put very high priority over manufacturing sector and exporting activities. If we see the national economic goals presented by each government and with their policy field, in Korea, each government is just one term, 5-year tenure. They use different rhetoric, but the contents are almost the same, focusing on how to promote exporting with the manufacturing sectors. And in policy areas, we need to be very adaptive and very changing fast in response to changes in outside environment. So even a few years ago, we emphasized the catchword in policy circles was about informatization, but now that disappeared suddenly, and then we use commonly the word of digitalization. Just briefly mentioned by Michal, all those policies that should be based upon evidence, and then we highly emphasize the performance, the outcomes. So the one example is so-called smart factory program, and I will skip this one. And NABO is the National Assembly Budget Office. They made some objective evaluation of the many projects administered by the government. And so they selected, for example, 10 growth projects done by the government. And then they make quantitative evaluation of the performance of the government program. And Smart Factory program received a very high attention and also received a very favorable assessment from the NABO effect. And so with this evaluation effect, the government received some backup and continue on the investment in this field. Now we try to create some kind of ecosystem, innovation ecosystem, but until now, the state government led the whole of the system, so we need to try to empower those state power to locals. Locals means local authorities, local government, also including civil society. Now we are in the transition from state-led administration to more localized, democratized system. This I will show in more detail. This is about co-patent done by about 3,000 agents in Korea in the year of 2021. And they put about 12,000 patents. You see the inside of the network, I could draw this network of the co-patent networks. And inside the green circle represents for universities, and gray big circle represents for big enterprises. This shows how they play the key roles. If I repeat again, then universities and big enterprises, they are key actors in innovation networks, represented by co-patenting networks. But this has another steamy side. That means smaller companies, they are left behind. And some regions, they are also left behind. If you look at the trend from the year of 2000 until 2021, there is some increasing role between smaller companies and smaller companies with universities. But compared with busy means big business like Samsung Electronics or Hyundai Automobile, and they do more within them, each other. So this caused a lot of problems, making those smaller companies left behind. So the problem or challenge we are facing now is that how to connect this asset led by large enterprises and universities, how to make smaller companies participate in this network. That is the very critical policy goal we are put great effort now. In terms of SME policies, we have almost every possible tools across many ministries and across areas. I will not go in details, but I will go further here. This is this survey done by Ministry of Small SMEs and Startups, and they analyzed the share of SMEs customers in terms of 4 categories. Wow, it's broken down. I remember that most of their activities are B2B suppliers, which means that smaller companies are part suppliers to large enterprises on their supply chains. And the yellow area represents for around, if my memory is correct, 8% of companies are making direct export. The remaining ones, always they are suppliers, subcontractors to large enterprises. That gives a lot of challenges to elevate the activities to the global standard. That is one evidence where we are heading for now in terms of SME policies. those SMEs who are very active in overseas activities, we try to, what is the main motivations for their overseas expansions? And about half of SME response is they are talking that deteriorating business environment, mostly in Korea or domestic markets, cause and pushes them go out. So they feel very strong pressure inside the markets. So that combined with these two evidence, we try to motivate, try to change the directions of SME policies. This is the announced basic direction of SME policy direction announced by last year in this incumbent government. So they use three catchwords: globalization and digitalization and shared growth. I want to emphasize the last point, shared growth between large enterprises and SMEs, because innovation activities or overseas market expansion, all those things are led by large enterprises. They are key players. So connecting to that network is very important for promoting activities of SMEs. So shared growth is one of the keywords now very prevalent in Korean policy dialogue. This is the end of my presentation, but I want to just emphasize about artificial AI. About 8 years ago, just a time around this March, if my memory is correct, from March 9 to 16, 2016, in Four Seasons Hotel in Seoul, there is a very big match between so-called well-known AlphaGo now and professional Go player Lee Sedol. So AlphaGo win against Lee Sedol over 4-1 score. And it was lively televised, and I watched all those 5 games. And then that event was and has been, in retrospect, a kind of a game changer, because suddenly almost everybody in Korea realized the power of new technologies. We have never expected that, imagined. My hobby is playing Go game, so I never imagined the computers will beat in that game against human beings. But the reality turned out to be 8 years ago in Seoul. Suddenly, general people realized the power of AI, and then suddenly almost all dialogue and discussions, public discussions about technology and innovation policies centered around artificial intelligence. It's kind of hype and boom. And now, afterwards, government created 5 graduate schools specialized at AI. And similar to the programs I shown just before, many ministries established new projects with a huge amount of money. So KDI and myself, we are playing some kind of referees. How effective is those all endeavors made by the government? So we are currently, and last year, tried to evaluate the performance and outcomes. It turned out to be very good because we have big players. And very luckily, a big enterprise like Samsung or Hyundai Automobile, they spend a lot of money. Also, we have Korean platform providers, including such as Naver and Kakao, as messenger services. And so they put tremendous monies in creating their own businesses. So they are moving ahead. And then also, general public support those activities. So the government follow that fashion and trend, and they are creating specialized graduate schools. So the last year evaluation gives a very favorable outcomes and result about the endeavors made by the government. It is the complementary asset investment to big business movement. That's what we have done now. Thank you very much. Yeah.